At 3:21 in the morning on June 13, 2025, in a sixth-floor apartment in Tehran known locally as the Professor's Complex, Mohammad Mehdi Tehranchi, one of Iran's most distinguished theoretical physicists, was killed in his sleep. He never heard what was coming. Right now, the weapon that killed him is still classified. The Israeli government has barred its publication, and the full list of what Israel knew about every scientist it targeted that night, their bedroom locations, their habits, their entire lives, was assembled over years of espionage so deep that Iranian counterintelligence never detected it until it was too late. To understand what happened in the early hours of June 13, 2025, you have to understand what Mossad spent 2 decades building toward. The Israeli strategy of targeting Iran's nuclear scientists did not begin in 2025. It began in 2007, when Mossad director Meir Dagan identified the scientists themselves, not just the centrifuges, not just the enrichment plants, as the irreplaceable core of the program. His reasoning was surgical. A bomb requires machines and materials, but the machines cannot be operated and the materials cannot be weaponized without the people who understand how. Dagan believed that killing the scientists was not merely disruption, it was amputation. He told an interviewer shortly before his death in 2016 that the best pool for recruiting agents inside Iran lay within the country's ethnic and human mosaic. Roughly 40% of Iran's 90 million people are minorities: Arabs, Azeris, Baluchis, Kurds, many of whom opposed the regime, some who hated it. That human network was the foundation. The assassinations that followed were its product. Between January 2010 and January 2012, 4 Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in Tehran. The methods were consistent and terrifying in their intimacy. Masoud Ali Mohammadi, a physics professor, was killed on January 12, 2010, by a remote-controlled bomb planted on a motorcycle outside his home in northern Tehran. It detonated as he left for work. On November 29, 2010, Majid Shahriari was killed when a motorcyclist pulled alongside his car in traffic and attached a magnetized explosive to the door. His wife was wounded in the blast. That same morning, Faridun Abbasi Davani, sanctioned by the UN Security Council under Resolution 1747 for his role in the nuclear program, survived an identical attack when the bomb on his car malfunctioned. On July 23, 2011, Dariush Reza Ainejad was shot 5 times by motorcycle-riding gunmen in front of his home, his daughter watching from beside him. On January 11, 2012, Mostafa Ahmadi Roshan, supervisor at the Natanz uranium enrichment facility, died when 2 men on a motorbike placed a magnetized explosive on his car at 8:30 in the morning on Sayed Khandan Street in eastern Tehran. Western intelligence officials confirmed to Time magazine Roshan was a victim of Israel's Mossad. Iran arrested 14 Iranians, 8 men and 6 women, as the cell responsible. Their televised confessions ran on state television in a documentary called Terror Club. Mossad officials were, according to Dan Raviv, pissed off and shocked to see their assets on Iranian television. After those arrests, the campaign paused. Then came November 27, 2020, and the operation that redefined what assassination could mean. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was the man Benjamin Netanyahu had called out by name in a 2018 press conference. He was the architect of Project Ahmad, Iran's covert nuclear weapons program, suspended in 2003 but never dismantled. The New York Times called him the closest thing to an Iranian Oppenheimer. Mossad had been tracking him since at least 2007. In late 2019, they began serious preparation for his elimination. The method they chose was unprecedented. A US-made M240C 7.62mm machine gun was smuggled into Iran in parts and assembled over 8 months by a Mossad team of approximately 20 operatives. It was mounted inside a blue Nissan Zamyad pickup truck, parked along the route Fakhrizadeh's convoy would take near Absard, east of Tehran. A second vehicle with cameras confirmed his identity. When the team, operating from a command center thousands of miles outside Iran, received the signal, an operator calibrated the sights, cocked the weapon, and lightly touched the trigger. All remotely, all via satellite link. No Mossad operative was physically present. Fakhrizadeh was killed in under a minute. The truck exploded afterward to destroy the evidence. Iran declared him a martyr. Former Mossad chief Yossi Cohen, in a June 2021 television interview, offered Israel's closest public admission yet of responsibility. The operation demonstrated that Mossad could now reach anyone, anywhere in Iran, without a single Israeli body crossing the border. What happened at 3:21 in the morning on June 13, 2025, was Fakhrizadeh multiplied by 9, simultaneously in 9 different locations, using a weapon still under military censorship. Operation Narnia was the most technically complex targeted assassination campaign in the history of modern intelligence. Mossad had compiled dossiers on Iran's top 100 nuclear scientists. The list was narrowed to approximately a dozen targets, ranked by military expertise, irreplaceability, and proximity to weapons-grade work. The files mapped their movements, their work routines, their homes, and the locations of their bedrooms. In November 2024, Israeli intelligence designated the final target list for simultaneous elimination. They chose simultaneous strikes specifically because previous sequential assassinations, motorcycle bombs in Tehran traffic, had the flaw of setting off alarms. Kill one scientist in the morning, and by noon, every other scientist on the list is in a safe house. Kill them all at the same time, and there is no warning and no escape. A senior Israeli official told Channel 12 they never imagined they would be reached in their bedrooms. The classified weapon used to reach them has not been named publicly. Israeli officials confirmed that it was not a conventional airstrike in the traditional sense. The Mossad used drones and anti-tank guided missiles in ground operations inside Iran on the same night, including Rafael Spike precision-guided systems to destroy air defense components. Whether the scientists were killed by precision munitions delivered from aircraft, by ground-launched systems operated remotely, or by a weapon class not previously known to exist in this role, Israel has not said and is not saying. In total, 11 senior nuclear scientists died in the opening phase of the war. Fareydun Abbasi Davani, the man who survived the 2010 car bomb, was among them, killed at the Asatidi Sarv complex in Tehran. The last scientist on the list, Syed Sadeghi Saber, head of the SPND's Shahid Karimi group, overseeing explosives projects linked to nuclear device assembly, survived the June 13 strikes when an attack on his Tehran home killed his 17-year-old son instead. He was killed on June 24th, the war's final day, by a drone strike at a relative's home in Gilan province, 320 kilometers from Tehran. He had returned for his son's mourning ceremony. Here is the dimension of Operation Narnia that researchers at Georgia Tech identified in June 2025 as the critical unanswered question. And it is not comfortable for either side. 2 political scientists writing on state targeting of scientists as a counter-proliferation tool have gathered data on nearly 100 assassination campaigns across the nuclear age, beginning in 1944. Their finding cuts against the logic that Israel's intelligence officials described so confidently. Targeting scientists may not stop programs. It may accelerate them. Pakistan's bomb program survived the targeted killing of several key figures during its development. The Soviet program absorbed the losses of personnel purged by Stalin and continued. The historical parallel that actually applies here comes from the Manhattan Project itself. When the Allies targeted German nuclear physicists after 1943, it contributed to delay, but not termination. Germany's program ended because the industrial base was destroyed, not because the scientists died. What Israel struck in 2025 was different in scale from anything attempted before. 11 scientists with 20 to 40 years of accumulated expertise each, gone in one night. The silent beneficiary of this particular loss is time itself. Iran's Amir Tehranchi, brother of the slain physicist Mohammad Mehdi Tehranchi, told PBS Frontline that his brother's knowledge had been passed to students. The universities, Shahid Beheshti, Imam Hussein, Islamic Azad, trained thousands of physics and engineering graduates annually. The second generation of the program exists. It watched what happened to its mentors. And the unnamed risk sitting at the center of this story is the one that Israeli intelligence officials privately acknowledge. Mossad's ability to identify and reach the top tier of Iran's scientific establishment may have destroyed the most visible layer while leaving the distributed second tier, younger, lower profile, harder to map, completely intact. Iran arrested 21,000 suspects in the weeks following the war, including 260 accused of spying, executing several Kurdish men publicly charged as Zionist collaborators. Iran executed 2 men in September 2025, accused of meeting with Mossad. The counterintelligence crackdown that followed Operation Narnia may have made the next generation of Iranian nuclear scientists significantly harder to find. The global implications of codifying scientist assassination as an overt state instrument, not covert, not deniable, but announced and named, are only beginning to register. Prior to June 2025, Israel maintained plausible deniability on every killing. On June 13th, it claimed responsibility publicly, listed the scientists by name, and called their elimination the most important part of the operation. That shift from covert to declared has now established a precedent that no non-nuclear power in the world has previously created. That scientists working on a weapons program are lawful military targets, announced as such by the attacking state. Iraq, in the late 1970s, attempted to acquire French nuclear expertise and faced Israeli counter-operations, including the 1981 Osirak airstrike. After Osirak, Iraq dispersed and hardened its program, and by 1990 had come far closer to a functional weapon than the pre-1981 program ever reached. The lesson applied to scientists is identical. Dispersal is the natural response. Iran's second generation of nuclear scientists, watching their mentors die in their beds, will not congregate in identifiable complexes or publish their affiliations. They will disappear into Iran's scientific infrastructure and become invisible. 2 scenarios now govern what comes next in the contest between intelligence and proliferation. If the combination of dead scientists, destroyed facilities, and active surveillance gaps proves decisive, if the human knowledge truly cannot be reconstructed in less than a decade, then Operation Narnia achieved something no airstrike alone ever could: the permanent degradation of weapons-relevant expertise, not just infrastructure. The second scenario is the one that the Georgia Tech researchers named directly and the Israeli officials avoided. The killing of high-profile scientists accelerates domestic support for the program, elevates the survivors to martyrs, and drives the reconstitution effort underground, away from IAEA inspectors, away from satellite imagery, and away from the motorcycle riders and remote-controlled weapons that have defined Israel's campaign for 15 years. A classified weapon killed 9 scientists in their beds. But Iran's nuclear knowledge is not stored in 9 beds. It is stored in the minds of thousands. And the next generation learned, watching June 13, 2025, that the only safe nuclear scientist is one the enemy does not know exists. So what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. TGN presented. Thank you for choosing us.